Hello.
Hey, what's going on here? I
I
got
don't
over
know,
here
mate, but I
clicking and
was
it
just
wasn't working.
there on my own, just chill. I was just chilling,
Hanging
just
out.
waiting.
Oh no, what's going to happen now? I, I have no doubt that Lee can carry the show in my absence. Let's see who we
Oh,
got here.
I don't know about that. I don't know about
Henry
that.
Nelson's here. Mark Longoria. And I hear myself somewhere. I've got to find
RP
another one.
Skaza.
Yeah, RP, how you doing? Now she's a mod over on my missing persons and mysteries channel, just like you are, Lee.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why, mate. I don't know why I am. I mean, it must be my level of importance, mate.
Yeah, you're part of the machinery that makes the Stockton engine go.
I just thought I was like a safety pin or something stuck in your shoe. A tick.
And we
What's it
log
called?
in here and let's see
A
here.
tack in the shoe, me. Hello, Henry. All right, mate. How you doing, mate?
The
Good to see you.
Cherinator is here.
Cherinator, there he is. There he is, Stephen. Hello, Stephen. Are you well?
How you
Jolly
doing,
good.
Stephen? And that's supposed to represent me and Lee there on the thumbnail if we were aliens.
Yeah, and of course, I already am an alien. Apparently,
Hell, I've got
I'm
that.
only here. I'm only here visiting for the. This is like
I've,
a weekend to me.
I've got that alien blood in me. I'm an RH negative and
Yeah, you're
green
definitely a
eyes.
weirdo. I've got a friend like that as well. Jane, her name is. Shout out to Jane.
No,
She'd never
I think
watch something
there's
like this.
something to all that. If you go over to Gaia.com, some of those places, there's all kinds of stuff written about us
Yeah,
off
it's a funny thing,
planeters
isn't it?
here.
RH negative. Yeah,
No monkey
and
blood.
RH
And
positive.
no shade on anybody. If you do have some monkey blood, I hope it works good for you. But
Whereas me, I'm O positive. So I'm the blood everybody uses.
yeah, that's what Nicole is. She's an O positive, universal donor.
Yep, yep. That's me. Hello, Kafida. All right. Oh,
Catheter. I bet
it's
she's an I bet she's an RH
that's
negative.
Kafida. You got to say it right. It's Kafida.
Catheta. How you doing, Catheta?
Kafida. Hi, Cat. Good to see you. Yeah. So this Phil Schneider, then, mate.
Yeah, what about the mysterious life and even more mysterious demise of Phil Schneider? Did everybody here get a chance to watch that video that I put up the other day? I apologize for the quality, but it's hard to find.
That's all
It's
that
been
could be
scrubbed.
found.
I got that copy from Russia, hence those subtitles on there that I couldn't get rid of. But people talk about it on YouTube, but as far as the actual video itself, that one, it's very difficult to find.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, that's the only piece of footage I've ever seen. Because I've clearly seen that before.
And he
And
talked about this stuff for 2 years before they
yeah,
found him
yeah, he did. I
deceased.
remember when he first came out with it. It was back then. But like I said, the footage was really crap even then. It's just obviously over
It wasn't
time.
even state of the art for that time.
No, it was videoed, wasn't it as well? Don't forget.
Yeah,
That was back
you
in
have
the
to
back
adjust
in the
the
day of
track
video
and all that, see
cassettes.
the skew and all that on it. So,
Yeah, yeah. So it
but
was it was really really
it
poor.
is
But
a compelling story, though. And there's a lot of parallels there between him and my dad. My dad was also a metallurgist, and he worked at Oak Ridge National Laboratory. And in fact, I was almost born in New Mexico. They tried to transfer him to Los Alamos National Laboratory, but my mom wanted to stay in East Tennessee to be close to her mother and her family. So I was born in Oak Ridge. But there you go. And a lot of the stuff he talks about was stuff that I heard my dad talk about. I didn't understand it then, and I don't understand it now.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the alloys and the atomic weights of some of those things and stuff. I
yeah.
mean, the guy
That's
obviously
what
knows
see.
his beans.
That's when that's what leads me on the air of belief is because the way he talks about the metals and stuff, it's not your everyday thing, And even then, it's like it's even like reminds me of the Bob Lazar thing, because everybody calls Bob Lazar a liar and that he never had anything to do with it and he was just a janitor or any of those things. But he was
But you
talking
know,
about.
even the
He was talking
janitor
about.
can pick
He
up
was.
so many things.
Yeah, but he was talking about. He was talking about the element 115 before they even found that isotope or whatever it is.
And Area 51, I mean, that's a real thing. When I lived in Las
Yeah,
Vegas,
that's it. Yeah.
I go down by the airport. Sometimes in the morning, there was a place there that I like to have breakfast, and I would see those
And you see
Janet
the Janet
flights.
air. You see the
Yeah,
Janet aircraft. Yeah.
the windows blacked out. Those
Yeah.
people boarded the plane there, and they took them to
Yeah.
Area 51 at the beginning of their shift and brought them back at the
Yeah.
end
They're
of the.
called Janets, aren't they?
Yeah,
They're called Janets. Yeah.
and I've been up there. I was on Freedom Ridge back when you could still get up there. It's funny that you can't get on Freedom Ridge. That's kind of an oxymoron there now, I guess. But been to the black mailbox or the white mailbox, whichever one it is now. They keep changing the colors of it. And met
Yeah.
up
It's
with some
still. It's
like-minded
always.
people out there.
I think it's always going to be known as the black mailbox, isn't it?
Yeah, and the
It's
little
just been
Alien
the
cafe
little
up there.
alien. Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah.
And we'd see how close we could get till the camo dudes spotted us, and they spot you quick out there. They've
Oh
got
yeah, yeah.
all
But
kinds of
they've got
surveillance
infrared
stuff.
cameras and stuff, though, haven't they?
And
Straight away.
so
So
as soon as we saw the Jeeps come tearing down, we figured it's time to get out of there.
yeah. Apparently they haven't shot anybody, but you don't really know, do you? It's like who's really took the chance to go, but why do they keep moving the border, further and further away? If they've got nothing to hide, or if it's, I mean, look, if you've got top secret stuff, it's going to be inside a hangar or whatever. You're not gonna reveal it, and
Yeah,
if it is, you just put it in such a place where it doesn't get viewed, you know. Whereas,
and
but at the end of the day, if it's taxpayers' money that's making these things, I think it's a fine line. I understand that you need secrecy for against your enemies and stuff. I get that.
yeah. Well, again, growing up
It's
in Oak
it's a
Ridge,
fine line.
especially during the Cold War, there were signs, billboards all over town about, shh, be quiet. You don't know who's listening and things like that. And
Yeah, yeah.
it was even more so back in the day when it was a city behind a fence that didn't exist on any map. Um, they
Well,
had
they
guard
denied
towers,
it for
armed
years. It
guards.
was only
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was that made them admit it, and it was after years and years and years of people saying it was a conspiracy theory,
yeah,
and that's the old adage, isn't it? I mean, that's the CIA made that up, was it just after the war or 1947? It was, I think it was around about the same time as the Roswell crash, wasn't it? That they made up the idea of it's a conspiracy theory, so that they could just fob everything off basically as being a conspiracy,
yeah.
a theory.
And a lot of the stuff that's purported to be conspiracies, it's conspiracy fact and not a theory.
Yeah. Well, it's been proven to be
Project
fact, hasn't it, a lot
Paperclip
of it?
is a good example. I've talked about that
Yeah.
one before.
Project
Well,
Blue Book as well.
took the German scientists after the war and put them to
Yeah.
work here. My dad worked
They didn't
right
just go to
alongside
America.
some of those guys.
We nabbed some as well. The British nabbed some as well, and so did Australia, I think. Nabbed some scientists. So you know.
And I've got a correction here that was sent to me. It's a type O negative. It is the universal donor, not
That's it,
type
yeah.
O positive.
Yeah.
I misspoke. I forgot myself there. Thank you, Nicole. I
Yeah.
love you.
Yep.
But either way, I'm B negative, and if you've never heard all that business, go look it up online.
Yeah, it's a
RH
weird one.
negative
It's a
blood.
weird one, definitely about the blood thing. Even my friend who's not really into the fringe thing, she said that to me one day. I was actually quite surprised. She said it to me. She said, "Yeah, I don't know what made us talk about the blood types or whatever." But she looked up and said, "Yeah, I'm A Rhesus negative or whatever it is." And I said, and then she said, "Yeah, apparently I've got alien DNA, or alien blood or whatever." And I'm like, "Shit, what you?" She's she's pretty normal. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, Stephen, how can you not know what blood type you are, buddy?
Really? It's a really good idea to know what blood type you are.
Hey, Mark Shed talking. We also got Midwest Night Watchers and Chiro Sounds in the chat. How you guys doing, Gerald and
Yeah,
Jay?
hi guys. How you doing?
So, getting back to all this that we're talking about, yeah, there was times that all kinds of things went on, and it was not talked about or covered up. Tuskegee experiment, and
It was that time though, wasn't it?
yeah,
It seems that there was a lot of these kind of stories came out, you know, in the 80s, and it's like you don't get
well,
many of them
that's
now.
when like Lazar and his tales came out, and then again when they produced those. The models that you could put together of the ship that he or the plane that he supposedly worked on, it was accurate.
Yeah, yeah, it's a crazy thing. I mean, thing is, there's things that he was involved in that were proven were real. You know, that actually happened. You know, so that's what it makes his story bloody compelling. You know, the whole thing though being lowered down into one of the shafts and coming face to face with these tall greys or whatever they are, and because he's discovered it, I'm guessing, and he wasn't supposed to know they were there, because it was an act. From what I can gather, they already had a base there. The aliens, right, already had a base there, and that in building these underground bases for their army or whatever it was, their secret bases, they bumped into one of their bases. That's how I read it.
Yeah, they accidentally dug through and like, oh, what's
Dug through
this?
into one of the alien bases, and when they did, they lowered him into the tunnel, obviously to do whatever work. But why him for a start? Or was it because that they bumped into something, wanted to check out what it was, and sent him down? But why
Yeah,
would they only send one person down to check something like that out? That's that.
yeah, I can kind of understand that in a way. You know, he did the recon for him, and
Yeah, yeah. But
apparently
even
he'd
then,
done a lot of black bag, black budget type stuff. So I think he was a lot more than he let on that
yeah.
he was.
That. Well, that's what I was going to say.
Private security
I was
contractor,
going to
you know,
say
one of those guys.
that it seems like there was a little bit more to that he didn't say, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
You know, because why on earth would he be sent down there, and why on earth is he weaponed? You know, got weapons if all he's doing is building tunnels.
yeah.
You know, why has he
I,
got a
maybe
weapon
they
on? Why has he got
expected
a
to
weapon
run
on
into
him when?
something, or they knew it was there. They
Well,
didn't know what
maybe.
was in it,
Wow, well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it
and that was
wasn't a
how they
tunnel
find out.
building. Maybe it wasn't a tunnel building project, but that was the cover. You know, even inside the military, that was a cover. You know what I mean? Because it was maybe clandestine operations within the military, like they sometimes do, because not all departments talk to each other either, do they? You know,
No,
they all have
that's
their little secrets.
intentional linkage blindness. So they have
Yeah.
they segment it into parts. That's the
Yeah.
Manhattan Project. That's the way that was. My parents met
Yep.
while working on that. They were all working on the bomb, but they didn't know that's what it was necessarily. My dad, they said they had a pretty good idea what it was, but didn't know. You know, the visual materials. That's why they had Los Alamos on one end of the country and Oak Ridge on the other. There was a lot of distance in
Midwest
between.
Night Watchers has a good point there as well, because there's a lot of the abductions were certain blood types that are taken.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Now, is that to do with the adrenochrome thing? You know, because
That's a
I
possibility as
noticed he
well.
mentioned the adrenochrome thing. Now,
Yeah.
there's controversy,
And
a
that was
conspiracy
only,
theory. Right, I'm going to
yeah,
do it right, just for the YouTube sake. Conspiracy theory. This is just a conversation. You know, I'm not saying it's, but there's talk of certain
we can neither
individuals
confirm
in
nor deny
nor deny.
these
Yeah, well,
allegations.
there's allegedly people of high power that also participate in the adrenochrome thing, and it is something that is you can actually search it on the internet, and it comes up with different types of adrenochrome that you can buy. It's a
Yeah.
crazy thing. It's a
And
crazy thing. It's
that's, I
actually
mean, he was talking
searchable.
about that back in the 80s. Hunter S. Thompson wrote about it back in the 70s. That's the first time I'd ever read or heard anything about it. It was in one of Hunter's books, I think, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Mm.
But he talked about just dipping the tip of a match head in it and sticking it to his tongue, and it just blew his mind. So it's a real thing. Now I don't know if it has any actual medical uses, or if it. I can't imagine anybody doing that recreationally, but it's supposed to have all kinds of properties,
Yeah, yeah. So
and it's
it's a strange.
harvested from the
Well,
pituitary gland.
from the adrenaline, because it's adrenaline, isn't it? Well, what they say is that even one teaspoonful of adrenaline can kill 2,000 men or something
Yeah,
like
it
that. I can't
would
remember.
make your heart explode.
Yeah, yeah, because the amount that our brain gives out of adrenaline is actually, minute. It's in minute amounts. But yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, like I said, him going down there, I try to get the picture of what it would have looked like as he was lowered into this tunnel.
It kind of reminded me of those
And
stories you hear about the guys in Vietnam that went into those tunnels there that
yeah,
the Viet Cong had dug in, and they literally didn't know what was around the next corner. They're hunkered over, they're humping through these tunnels, and
yeah.
you never knew you could get in a firefight down there, a booby trap, or anything. So he
But
was a brave
I try
man.
to imagine something more advanced than that. This is the thing. I mean, there was no description of what the tunnels looked like that
Yeah,
you went into. If you know what I mean, the alien tunnels.
yeah.
I
I
think
think
that.
it was something from the Alien movies, like some sort of sci-fi looking
Yeah,
tunnel with
that's it.
vents and
I
pipes and things.
envisaged things like that, but I wonder why he didn't give a description of what, because that'd have been something that you'd have been in awe of if
Yeah,
it was something completely alien to what we know as like a tunnel, where we put concrete bits together, in slab form, and they're all joined together, linked together, and the perpetual weight of each one holds the next one. If you know.
yeah.
I mean, how are they constructed, kind of thing? What's the construction look like?
That is a
This is the
valid
thing.
point because, to my knowledge, he didn't discuss the
He
construction
didn't.
of the
That's what I'm
tunnels
saying.
themselves.
That you would have thought if it was something alien, then you would have noticed being a metallurgist,
Yeah.
right? You'd have
Well,
you'd have understood the
I'll
sciences
play devil's
of,
advocate here. Maybe it's put together the same way ours are, that it wasn't done
or
using
maybe
some
it's
sort of
just maybe, well,
technology.
like he was saying about melting rock, right? So if it is, if they were made the same way out of melting rock, then you'd have had like maybe a melted looking
Yeah,
tunnel.
like
You'd have
almost
no
it could be
you.
some sort of glass, like silica sand. You take that, you heat it.
Yeah,
That's what
well, like
glass
when
is.
when you overheat, or when it gets hit by nuclear blast or whatever, it turns into like a glass, doesn't it? I can't remember what they call that
But
now.
that
There's,
those underground bases and tunnels and things like that aren't of our construction, that would lend credence to some of these stories and legends you hear about people hearing machinery underground.
yeah,
Um,
but I mean, to our knowledge, but we was talking about advanced tech before, weren't we? About the possibilities that they're gonna these military people, whatever, have tech far in excess of what we know. The possibility is they are melting rock. They are. They have got some, but then what you've got to consider is the rock wouldn't vaporize; it would turn to lava, and
hmm,
then where would the lava flow? This is the thing. If you're see, I think about it, trying to think about it practically. So imagine you've got a laser and you're drilling a hole through Earth. Where does the material go that you've melted? You know,
good
because you're
question.
talking about a volume of liquid. Does it? You know, if they're tunneling down, then the liquid's going to fill up the tunnel. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
How do
and
they?
that would have been rather convenient of if he had described the process, but
There you go. Now you'd have thought someone who's a metallurgist would have understand that to really tell the story, you'd have to explain how the machine does what it does, rather than just saying, "Oh, it's this thing that built it that melts rock." Okay, so what happens to the rock when it's melted? Because there's nobody walking through that. There's Unless you're sat in a a sealed machine, and he was talking about the metal that he threw on the floor, that can't be melted and stuff. I get it if the whole thing's made out of that, but how does it move? Where does it put the? Because if you're gonna tunnel through, melting one end, it's like the movie, isn't it? The core, I think it's called. If it's tunneling through, and the excess is going round the machine, and then to the back, it's going to harden at the back, and you're just going to be cocooned in rock anyway.
Yeah, and if you
see
run
what I'm
out of
saying?
gas
Where
or
does the
fuel or
excess
something,
go?
then you're kind of messed up. Yeah, that doesn't make it, unless they had some sort of way to actually vaporize it.
Yeah, but
And again,
there's an amount of but where would it go? Where would it have to? I can't see it just being vaporized into nothing. That's where I've got an issue, or one of the issues I've got with it. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know.
But even that aside, some of the stuff that he told was just so, and he was obviously missing the fingers on one hand, and
Yeah, but like I said, he
you
could have
can't
done
really
that in a
tell. He could have done it.
wood
Yeah,
shop accident at home or something,
shot.
and
But
and
it
or
did.
had
The video was crummy, but it did appear to be cauterized. It looked like whatever took it off clean and sealed it. It didn't look. I don't know. It didn't look like it'd been ripped off.
Like I said, it's just I think being skeptical is a good idea, at the end of the day, because again, nobody was there. No one else come forward with the same story. No one else was part of his team. No one that was in the alleged team or whatever has come forward to corroborate his story.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's
then
really
again,
hard when
maybe
one
they saw
guy
what
standing
happened to
there.
him, and they're afraid to.
Yeah, there is that, but you normally, they get to a certain age in their life and they're like, I don't care, It does always grind me when it's this one person with a fantastical story, and what the old adage is that with such a unbelievable story, you'd need unbelievable evidence. I can't remember what the actual saying is now. With extraordinary circumstances, you need extraordinary evidence.
Yeah, indeed. But again, it is compelling, and if even a fraction of what he says is true, like John Todd, if you've ever heard him talk about the New World Order and the elites and Satanism and witchcraft and all that, a lot of the stuff that he talked about in the 70s has come to light that it is indeed true.
Yeah. Well, it's the same as when Bob Lazar years ago was talking, in the beginning, was talking about the element 115 thing. And allegedly, nobody even knew that was on the periodic table, or wasn't a thing. Whatever, because it's supposed to be a metal that's manufactured in space or something like that, isn't it? Am I right on that? I can't remember.
Something like manufactured in the vacuum of space or
in
something
the vacuum
like
of space,
that.
the same as and that's what makes me question as well with the metallurgy that Phil Schneider was talking about. Because look, anybody can bring in a piece of metal and hold it up and say this piece of metal and lay claim to something about it without a piece of paper saying, look, this is the process that was used to, you know what I mean, or video evidence of this is the process of how they made this. When you just hold something up, I mean, I could do that right now. Like, see this torch here is an alien torch that I found in a tunnel. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's my problem with a lot of this.
And there's people that will just readily believe you and fawn all over themselves.
Immediately, the moment I say this, look, you can tell because it's in threes. Okay, so and you know how these aliens, they work in threes. Everything's in threes and triangles. Okay, for strength and stuff. And yeah, this is my alien torch, and you can even tell the way it flashes.
You're signaling the mothership.
But you see where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
It's easy to say things, and this is the problem. Without evidence, you have to remain that with a skeptical mind. You have to.
Yeah.
I think
But then again, if he was just making it up for show, what did he have to gain from all this? He didn't write a
Well,
book or
some people
anything.
see. This is the other thing, right? I mean, I says that myself. Why would someone, be risk being ridiculed and the rest of the things that it's always been, when they could just ignore those things and never say a thing about it,
Mhm.
right? But some people have a level of narcissism that we don't understand. That they're willing to go above and beyond just for the attention, just to get recognition. I don't really see him as that. I must admit,
Yeah.
I can't see. He doesn't seem like a narcissist to me. He just seems like a guy that needs to get this story out. That's
No.
why I'm compelled to listen in a bit harder with him and just go, oh, God, that's, well, it's- you know, without him being alive as well, you can't say to him, "You're a liar."
Yeah. But
You
the
know.
whole thing with the way they found him and everything, supposedly self strangulation, but it
Yeah,
was
I
like
get
piano
again.
wire or
He was
something.
Epsteined,
Which,
wasn't he? He was
yeah,
Epsteined.
if there's a book called the CIA Book of Dirty Tricks or something like that, it's from a company I
Well,
don't know if they
it's
exist
like the
anymore
people
called
that
Desert
just.
Publications. And one
It's
of the
like
things is how to improvise weapons of destruction, shall we say.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
one, just a piece of wire and two pieces of wood, and you make a garrote. And
yeah.
but I've never heard of anybody taking themselves out with one or opting out.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, you'd have to have the
And then supposedly he had also been shot and
flake out.
stabbed.
Wait, before you flake out as well, you have to be able to twist it that many times. Yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to
I
me.
just, I don't believe that they did it himself. I really
No,
don't. No
no,
more
I
than,
believe that he was definitely helped.
yeah. And he even told people, including his ex-wife, has testified to this. I think her name's Cindy or Cheryl, that he told her that if anything happens to me, I didn't do it.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, that people purposefully say that now as well, as a matter of course now, don't they?
Hmm.
When they come out with a story. So the see, the problem is it's easy again to say that to add legitimacy to the story. It's like it's again without the stamp of reality on it. It's just a story, and that's the problem that everybody's really has to deal with, because if you say, well, it actually happened, well, you don't really know, and it hurts me, to be honest,
Yeah, and I
because
think the only person that really, really, really knows the truth is Phil Schneider, and
it's Phil
he's not
Schneider,
here
and he's no
anymore.
longer with us.
Yeah,
Uh, and the thing is, I'm one of them that I want to believe, but I'm not so desperate to believe that I will ignore all lines of reality or truth that or not so much truth, because you don't know what the truth is. This is the thing. But I'm not willing to compromise reality, you know, for the sake of that. I want to believe it myself so desperately. I mean, I believe there's life out there. I think we all do. I
yeah,
don't think any of us that are interested in the fringe subjects like this don't think that there's the possibility
something to do it. Yeah,
of something else other than us,
it's
even living here, and
yeah,
actually belonging here, like
and
we spoke before.
I did
How
find
do
a
we?
little bit of extra information here. In 1979, Philip was employed by Morrison Knudsen Incorporated. He was involved in building an addition to the deep underground military base at Dulce, New Mexico. The project at the time had drilled 4 holes in the desert that were to be linked together with tunnels. Phil's job was to go down the holes, check the rock samples, and recommend the explosives to deal with a particular rock. In the process, the workers accidentally opened a large artificial cavern, a secret base for the aliens known as Greys. In the panic that ensued, 67 workers and military personnel were killed, with Phil Schneider being one of only 3 who survived. He claimed that the scars on his chest were caused by being struck by an alien weapon that would later result in cancer due to radiation. So,
Yeah, but again, right? You work with metals, yeah.
yeah,
Say you're forging something, and a piece of material falls into a mix that you've forged, and even if you've got a little forge, and you're leant over it, and you're just about to take it out, and something that falls off of you or whatever falls into the liquid, and it goes bang,
Fall into the crucible,
and
and that could,
it explodes, right?
yeah,
It explodes. Well, you're going to have plasma damage or burn damage to your chest, and potentially it could shear off some of your fingers. See, this is the thing. You see that, and then all you got to do is come up with a fantastical story of how that happened. Oh, I was shot with an alien gun. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Though,
yeah.
this is the thing. But this is what skeptics do. Because you have to look at it from those angles rather than just straight to, wow, that guy's been shot by an alien gun. There's aliens in an underground base. Let's go check. See, this is the other thing. If there was, I think that we'd have heard a bit more about it.
Yeah.
Than just that story.
His claims are unverifiable, so
and that's the thing, and that's where a lot of these things fall down, isn't it?
But then again, if they don't want you to know, you're not going to know. So there's a lot of things that were unverifiable at one time that are now not. They are verifiable at this point. So
yeah. Well, I mean,
it wouldn't surprise me in the coming decades
like the SR-27. No, I can't remember what it was. Is it SR-27? I can't remember.
Yeah,
I
think it's
the Blackbird,
yeah.
and stuff. I mean, we know that was a top secret thing, and no one spoke about it. And then
it was invisible to radar due to the design of the covering of it.
There you go, and that ended up being true. But that's a little bit different to an alien base and alien weapons shooting someone when it, like I said, it could have been a crucible accident. Where something, even a piece of sweat dripping into a crucible when it's molten metal, like Henry said, and like I said, first of all, it will explode.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like a bomb going off. So it's compelling story, but again, story. And I want to believe it because who doesn't want to believe that that happened to the guy, but I have to remain. I'm open-minded that it's a potential truth. It's a potential truth too, right? But it's also,
I've seen enough and heard enough that I don't discount anything.
Yeah,
but I would like to see some proof.
The same, but I would like some sort of evidence. If he shot and killed one of these things, I mean, how many was it? Were they being rushed by a lot of these things? How did they get back up out of the tunnel? How were they lowered in? What were they lowered in on? All these questions I have that weren't explained. What the tunnels looked like? What he was lowered down on. Was it an actual proper lift that they erected at the top of one of these tunnels? Because you'd have thought tunnel boring people or whatever that were digging tunnels would have actual lifts that were attached to cranes or whatever, where they pull
some
the
type
crane
of
up,
bucket lift or
it'd be a proper lift, I would have
something.
thought. Yeah. So, and them things aren't fast. So how did they get in and get away? Get in, get down, and then how did they get back to it and get away? Because these things are so slow. Look, I find it hard.
Hey, Creepyville, how you doing? Good to see you.
Hi, Creepyville, how you doing? Yeah, it's a hard thing for me. And like I said, I'm really into these subjects. I'm really intrigued by them. But at the same time, I have to remain, not in disbelief, but in healthy skepticism.
Yeah, because a lot of it does require a serious suspension of disbelief.
It
But then
does.
again, you think
Yeah.
if even a portion of what he's saying is true,
And that's the thing.
and
That's the thing I grip onto. It's it's more of the how many were down there in this tunnel, because you'd have thought if he's only gone down there with as himself, and he's took on a whole armada of aliens. I find that fair, far fetched. Even though you're talking about a far fetched story in the first place, isn't it?
the far-fetched part of the far-fetched story,
Yeah, exactly. It's
even
hard. It's really
farther-fetched.
I really find it hard to get to that position of, wow, that guy had a. I mean, it's a scary story. Don't get me wrong. But when you talk about it's just one guy that went down into this tunnel and but as he put it, bumped into one of these things. I mean, it's just it's. But then and then it wasn't just one. And did he panic and shoot first? How did that
Well,
situation of
if
the
63
shooting?
died and he got away with injuries, maybe he was bringing up the rear.
Yeah,
Look, we found something. You guys go ahead and see what it is. I'll hang back. And,
yeah. I'll stay here by the lift,
like in the old
right?
Mutual
With
of Omaha's
with the
Wild
thumb on the
Kingdom.
button to go back up, and
Right
you
here.
guys wander off over there and go and check it out. And
Remember, everybody here old enough to remember Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom with Marlon Perkins? While Jim goes and wrestles the bear, I'll stand here by the Jeep, that sort of thing.
yeah. Well, that's what a sensible person does anyway. You go into somewhere where you don't know, mate. You send your cannon fodder off to go and have a look, don't you? While you stay safe. That's why you're a general.
Well, again, just the level of these allegations. And as far as the metallurgy part of it, he seems to know what he's talking about.
He does, but I mean, this is the thing, though, right? If you, that's like me talking about certain elements of sound and music, because I know it, but you going, blimey, I didn't know that. Blimey, I didn't know that. Blimey, I didn't know that. Yeah, it's the same thing. If you're involved with a particular, it's like an optician could be talking about their tools and stuff, and you've never even heard of some of the tools.
And when I worked in IT, I used to do that to people. Oh, well, you need an IP card in here, or we're going to. I even had a lady tell me one time her monitor was going out. I was replacing her monitor. And she said, I'd like to really, really keep that monitor because all my icons are on that one. I said, I tell you what, you go wait in the break room and I'll move your icons over to the new monitor. So a lot of people, and she believed that I did that.
And that's the thing, right? This is the thing with knowing something that someone else doesn't know.
Your car's out of blinker fluid or.
Yeah, that's it. See, unless you're a discerning person and and have a little bit more savvy.
And it also helps if you have a very trusting voice, and people will believe.
Yeah, exactly, Steve. And obviously, when you make people fall asleep to your voice, mate, I'm sure you could convince people. But see, that's what we need to do. That's the next thing. The next thing is we get a story together.
I try to use my powers for good, but sometimes for entertainment.
And you tell that story, and get some worldwide fame for that. But like I said, there's several elements to his story. It's the rushed way it's told, if you know what I mean. It's like, we were building these tunnels. I went down, and I met an alien basically, and we had a firefight.
But then again, maybe he only had an hour and a half to speak. It wasn't one of those conventions, and I've done those conventions. I was at a UFO conference in San Francisco a few years back where I spoke.
Yeah, but details are important.
You have a limited time, so there's parts.
Yeah, but like I said, details are important.
Yeah,
details to a mind.
I would love to.
There's even
seen him in just a camera in a room and not in front of a crowd of people, and just let him go till he couldn't talk anymore, and then see what tea might have spilled.
Yeah, but like I said, details are important, and when you're a bit more scientifically clued up kind of thing, like he was, you would have thought he'd have explained processes.
And the audience, I doubt that he had any real peers in there. If his credentials are in fact true, they probably didn't even know what questions to ask him.
Yeah, that's the other thing, and I appreciate that. But like I said, eh, details are important, and when you're a guy that understands metallurgy, you'd have thought you'd have explained a little bit more detail of how the metals are put together and what the process is to create those metals. You know, so that it can. Well, he said about the alien metals, and then this is the thing. It's easy claim to make. You know, this is an alien drink. You know, the drink inside it was an alien drink. You know, I mean, right? We can prove it's not, but I'm just talking. You know, if you grab a piece of metal and you can't just by looking at a piece of metal, you can't tell by the color or whatever whether it's so much aluminium or a mixture of aluminium and copper or blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
The
You
alloy
can't.
part of it.
Yeah, you can't tell that, right? And when he's talking about it's an inert thing. I thought, you know, gold was one of the only inert metals that there was. So making it, um, he said making it in space, in the vacuum of space. How do you go about that process? That sounds like a complex process to be able to do, and rather a risky one, considering that all we've got in space is the space station that's utilised. I mean, I don't think they're going to be doing metallurgy in that environment.
Yeah, and there was
Because the
this
risk.
article I found. This is from a long time ago. It's on the old Angel Fire
Yeah.
website, where, of course, anybody can post anything on there. But it talked about the process, and there's a wall of text here. Let me see if I can find where he described how they were making those metals, because it has a little more information here. And talking about railroad cars, Star Wars, and the alien threat. He says 68% of the military budget is directly or indirectly affected by the black budget. Star Wars technology relies heavily upon stealth weaponry. By the way, none of the stealth programs would have been available if we had not taken apart crashed alien discs. None of it.
Yeah, but again, like I
And
said, it's easy to make that statement, isn't it?
and then
Without showing us a piece of this
right,
alien thing or video of when they were taking it apart.
and here's a good
Everything.
quote.
You know.
Some of you might ask what the space shuttle is shuttling. Large ingots of special metals that are milled in space and cannot be produced on the surface of the Earth. They need the near vacuum of outer space to produce them. So
Yeah, but
that's
again, but how do they do
again,
that? Because, like I
yeah,
said, when all we know that they've got in space is the space station, and there's no way they're going to allow metallurgy to be taking part up in that tiny environment that you can't hardly move in. You know, you're not going to be
well,
mounting
they didn't
metals
say
up
they were
there.
making the ingots on the shuttle, but they're bringing them back on the shuttle. So who knows? Maybe we've got
Yeah.
a,
So
a
where are they making
metallurgy
it? Where
lab
where?
somewhere in space.
Yeah, but where? Like I said, it's an easy statement to make, but unless you can show the place where you make it, you know, and the processes thereof, this is where it falls apart for me, you know, because it's a bold statement to make, but you know, without any, it's a yeah. That's it. Henry's right. Henry's maybe they trade with the aliens for these things, you
You
know,
know,
for
so
these
they ever
metals.
play Trade Wars on the old computer BBS systems, or I think you play one of those games, don't you, Lee, where you fly your ship to different quadrants and trade with
Yeah, I play a
somebody?
game called Elite Dangerous. Not a lot of people can even fly the ships, but I do. It's it's cool. Elite Dangerous, it's called. I've got a HOTAS, which is a hands-on throttle and stick, and yeah, I dig that game the most. I just a lot of the time I do a lot of battles now, but I used to do a lot of deliveries, do a lot of different play. But I mean, like I said, it's a game, but
A game where you drive an intergalactic garbage scow.
yeah, yeah. Looking for looking for Zaphod Beetlebrox. But
That's what was that? The
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah, the BBC version of that is excellent, and of course the
Oh,
book
mate.
version is good too. And there
Yeah,
was a computer game
yeah.
for the old, I think it was a Commodore 64 that he used to
Life.
play that on. It
Don't
was
talk
like,
to me about life.
uh, and you had to find the
Depressed
babble
robot.
fish and then put it in your ear so they could
Yeah, that's
understand.
it.
You could
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
what was being said. And
See, that's the other thing, right? I mean, many people talk about these different species. You know, there's all these allegedly again. There's all these different types of species. Well, I see no evidence for any of them. I see one possibility when they talk about, you know, the the reptilians, right? Now, there is where I kind of go, right, hang on, wind yourself back. What if, you know, scenario again? I mean, I know I've said this before, but what if we are like we're just one of the generations of beings that have grown to fruition, you know, where brain capacities exceeded and been able to create and manipulate our environment, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, make high technology.
We're
How
an
do we
alien
know we're the
avatar.
first? How do we know we're not the first to do that? How do we know that, yes, they talk about, oh, the dinosaurs died out, but that could be something that's put out there purposefully, you know, and manipulated purposefully to hide the fact that maybe, like they speak about, you know, on in Jurassic Park, don't they? They talk about the velociraptors. If they were alive, they were super intelligent things. Well, how do we know that because they were around for, you know, 60 million years or whatever, that, you know, in that time, surely one species or another could have come to fruition, you know, could have gained enough intellect
To build
to
things to escape and leave
to
the other
build
things
things
that
to
got
escape. Then
destroyed.
they realised the cataclysm. You know, they built the pyramids and all the rest of it. They built, you know, say for instance, that's it, because they would have been super strong. Don't forget. Now, how do you know they didn't as well tame other creatures that were of that time? You know, like
Or
other
enslave
dinosaurs
them.
and
I
stuff like
mean, if
this.
you had a few T-Rexes lifting those blocks for the
There you
pyramid,
go.
that
It's
makes a
quite
lot more
possible then, isn't
sense
it? Makes a lot more
than a
sense.
bunch of slave labor rolled in on
There you go.
logs.
Tiny little human beings. When even a velociraptor, you know, stands like 11 feet tall.
Yeah,
That's it. But so imagine they come to fruition. They build high technologies. They build, you know, different power stations and all these things, and then realize there's going to be a cataclysm. Build these ships, scoot off, and by the time they've found somewhere else to go for a start, and then go and sit there for a while, then they want to come back to their home planet. They
yeah,
come back here, and lo and behold, there's us come to fruition,
yeah.
building high technology. Then
Something
they have to
else
come in.
crawled out of the primordial ooze, and now it's taken over.
There you go. And now we've come back to our planet that we were from originally, and these people talk like they own the place. And maybe that's where the protective part of it comes into it, you know. But also, you know, the food part of it comes into it, you know, and the missing people comes
Yeah,
into it. It's a hard one for me, but again, that's a hypothesis. But it's just as plausible a hypothesis as something coming from another galaxy and punching a hole through space to get here quicker. You know, because that's the only way they're getting here, or dimensional shift, or whatever. You know, because there's no other way something's coming here unless they're sending robots, kind of thing. You know, as we would call it. You know,
yeah.
drones.
Just because of the time that it would take to
The time.
travel.
There you go. And by the
It's
time that they've sent something, say you lived, you know, hundreds of thousands of light years away, and you send your things to have a look at that place, by the time they've even got there, the species that sent them are gone.
yeah.
Don't even exist, and probably that system doesn't even exist anymore. You know, so how do you get over the time delay to understand and learn about that species? This is why it's hard to consider. For me, it would have to be a nomadic species. You know, because eventually, like for even us on this planet, if we don't find a way to jump off of it and go wherever we want, then there's going to be the end of the human race kind of thing, and end
Yeah.
of all things on this planet, because this solar system, the sun will die, and that's it. So
And
do
then there
you
were
become a
thoughts of
nomadic? Do you
colonizing the
become
moon or colonizing Mars. Again, that's still within our solar system.
Yeah, exactly. So that's no good. If that
I have
sun
to
goes,
think
mate, more
beyond
than
that.
this solar system's going, the wider area goes as well, you know. So you've got to consider, if you're a sensible race that comes to fruition of the greater amount, I'm talking about, you know, can harness the power of the sun and stuff, you're going to end up being nomadic because it's safer. for your whole species, but your whole species is going to remain on something that can move wherever it needs to move to. You know, even if that is a planet.
Fascinating.
You know, a planet-sized thing. I would have, I'm just thinking farcical. You know, it's very far-fetched, but you have to think about it in terms of, you know, billions of years of fruition and adaptation and discovery. You know,
And
when
not only are these things in the sky, they're in the water. There's
it
USOs.
seems to be
There's
everywhere.
things
You
in the
know,
ground. Yeah, there's
yeah, yeah,
they make
and
use of the whole planet for stealth purposes or for covert activities or whatever they do. I mean, the
yeah,
majority of the Earth's covered in water. Why would there not
yep.
be things
Well,
under
it's
the
a
water?
water planet basically. We live on a water planet.
And then
You know,
like
we've got
that,
patches of land on a
the
water planet.
Millennium Falcon like thing that we talked about in a previous episode. That's
Yeah, yeah,
where did that end up being? Like off the coast of Portugal or somewhere like that. It wasn't
yeah,
anywhere
yeah.
near
That's
where
right.
I thought
Yeah,
it was.
yeah,
But that
yeah.
it does. It looks like a spaceship that's been under there for
Millions of
millennia,
years.
and it's
Yeah, where it's turned
crusted
to
over,
rock.
barnacled, and it's turned to stone.
Yep, yep.
But it does look like something capable of what we think of as spaceflight.
It does. And but see the thing for me as well, where that's all where that whole thing is. Why do they have to be aerodynamic of any kind? They shouldn't have to be. Because you're
Yeah,
talking about moving in space, it could be any shape because there's no air force against it as it moves. You know, so the only reason that we build streamlined things to cut through our atmosphere, you know,
yeah.
even if you're talking about a jet or even a car, you know, they're built
They're
streamlined to be able to
designed
cut.
in a tunnel, in a wind tunnel, to
Yeah,
reduce drag and things and
there you go.
make
Right.
that more efficiently. But again, something that could travel at hypersonic speeds, it wouldn't necessarily need all that. If it didn't,
And not only
if it
that, like I
just
said, if
winked in
it's
and
traveling,
out and could move through time and space in other dimensions,
you won't need any of that. You wouldn't,
again, yeah, it
and
could be
and
a
if you're
cube.
moving in space, you don't need to be aerodynamic because there is no air. You know, so you could be as flat as you like. You know, you could be the Borg cube, and it wouldn't matter. You know,
Yeah,
it is an intriguing subject, mate. All of it.
it is. It is.
You could just go off and off and off and
Yeah,
off
we
on.
could spitball here for hours and maybe not get any closer to the truth about anything.
No.
But it's fun to just think about it and consider the possibilities. And again, keep an
Yeah.
open mind,
Yeah.
but retain that skepticism. He said, I want to believe the guy. He's very convincing, but,
I do. I
but
like Phil
so are
Schneider.
other people. You
I
know,
don't think he had anything to gain from making a farcical
well, he
story.
wasn't
But
selling a book. He wasn't pitching a film
no,
script.
and
He
that's
didn't
the other
have a
thing I was going to
pyramid
get to.
scheme or a
There
multi-level
was no
marketing.
there,
He wasn't
he
trying to
wasn't
start a cult
no,
that I'm
he
aware of.
wasn't doing the Wilcox thing or the Corey Good thing. You know, trying to gain loads of money, $333.33 every year for membership and stuff. You know. And they've got the answers that have never come to fruition of any kind whatsoever. You know, he wasn't selling anything, and that's the only point that I come to. And sometimes I suppose even when telling a story, you miss out the intricacies
Yeah.
to get to the
And
story.
speaking of those conventions, that's not a money making thing. Like I said, I've done
No,
it.
no,
You're lucky
no,
if you get your hotel room and a couple of meal vouchers
yeah,
for the restaurant.
yeah. Well,
I had
because
to pay
someone's
my
got to put up
own
the
way
money
there. Yeah.
someone's got to put up the money to pay for the hall and all the rest of the things as well. You know, so
Yeah. The promoters and organizers, they made pretty good off of it, I think, but I didn't make
yeah,
jack
off
squat. I got
ticket
a free
sales and
room
stuff. But
at
that's the
the,
same as a venue where you know you bring the people, and however many tickets you sell, you know you get a portion of that money.
and then the bar sell them drinks and
Yeah,
all that. So there's, again, I don't see the speaking engagement like that as a money making venture.
yeah, and on this, I agree with you there, and you know it makes you think differently about a lot of the people. You know, one of the people, like I said, I'm inclined to believe his story again, but it's just a story again because
Yeah.
there's no physical evidence, right?
But
But
he's
there's loads of
so
them like that.
convincing. Like Travis
It's it,
Walton. I've seen that man
that's what
speak.
exactly what I was going to say. I
I
believe
believe the
Travis Walton.
man.
I believe
He
Travis Walton
believes what he says.
because he's so under. He's
He seemed kind of humbled and
he's
embarrassed
very
by it all.
humble with it. He's very understated. That's it. He's very
And
understated
again,
about
he
it.
had nothing to gain. He was just with a crew
No.
of people that he worked with. And I don't
Yeah.
think they conspired and say, hey, you know what? You disappear, we'll find you in a week naked, cowering behind a gas station or whatever. It'll be fun. Let's do it. Let's fool everybody. I don't see it having happened that way at all. And even Whitley Strieber, yeah, he made a fortune off of it with communion and the books and the movies and things. But I've heard him speak. And again, I think he believes what he says.
Yeah.
He just found
Listen,
he was good at marketing it.
my thing with the whole grey alien thing is this: millions of people aren't all liars. You can't. Not everybody's a liar, and not everybody wants to join the bandwagon of like. I want to be one of those people that says that they were. I don't see that, and you know, the whole
Well, you
story. I
open
don't.
yourself up for ridicule and
Yeah, but
threats
it's all
and
of
all
those
kinds
things.
of
All of
bad
those
things.
things. Yeah, all of those things, and one of the stories that compels me to think very differently about it is I don't know if anybody's seen the film The Fourth Kind. If anybody hasn't seen that, then it's got Mila Jovovich in it, and she plays a psychologist, and she goes to Nome, in Alaska. She goes to the town of Nome, and there she discovers alongside her footage, there's the footage of the actual psychologist that went up there to do these tests. This is based on a real true story. On a true story, worth a watch, guys. And then you're never going to see 3:30 as a time again. You're never going to look at owls the same way again. I can tell you that for nothing. Because the same thing happened to loads and loads of people that weren't even connected to each other, and they didn't even realise it was happening to them until they went under hypnosis. All right, yes, there's the power of suggestion with hypnosis. It can't be trusted or whatever. But it's kind of crazy when not just that particular story, but all around the world, there's millions of people that have said the same things and described it in the same way. Now, they're not all going to be liars. Yeah, you're going to get your odd crazies that are going to join the bandwagon. They want their little 15 minutes of fame. Even if it is a weird 15 minutes of fame. But there's a hell of a lot of people saying the same thing. That, to me, is very compelling when it comes to evidential stuff, There may not be physical evidence, but why do so many people talk like they've been pulled out of their body kind of thing, like it's a spiritual thing? That intrigues me, like they feel like they've left their solidity behind, and that they're like a ghost or whatever. That really intrigues me.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. Well, we're almost out of time here. Lee, any parting thoughts on anything, or do we have any questions from the audience?
My only passing thought is this: keep an open mind.
Yeah,
Really important. Enjoy the stories,
keep watching
and
the
until
skies.
until we get that physicality of an actual thing that we can 100% say that it's not from here, that it's made. Or I'm one of those great believers in until someone's holding an interview, Tucker Carlson's holding an interview or something with one of these beings from another world, that doesn't look humanoid, because it's easy to, Valiant Thor. This is the other thing Phil Schneider was talking about, Valiant Thor or whatever his name is. Right? They were supposed to be, lives to 400 years of age. How can you prove that without the guy being here around and being documented for the 400 years that he's alive? How do you verify that? Do you know what I mean, Steve?
Words to ponder there, points to ponder.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that rolls around in my head is, what if? I mean, what if
Yeah,
it's not? But what if it is true? Then what?
yeah, yeah. Like I said, what? Because he was talking about. See, that's a specific that I like to say. When he was talking about Valiant Thor, he's talking about the blood type, right? Now again, and he said that the guy's got. I can't remember what it is. We've got lead based blood, haven't we? Um.
Uh,
So is it lead based?
uh,
Um.
copper, I think. I'm
Co-
not sure.
no, but he was talking about Valiant Thor's blood being
Oh,
the
okay.
same
Yeah.
as same as an octopus,
Yeah.
right? And I can't remember what. No, we've got iron based blood. Sorry, I don't know why I
Yeah.
said lead
Yeah. All
based.
right. It
Um.
has a coppery taste. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, but well, you can taste the metal basically in it, can't you? But it's the same as when you eat a green vegetable. A real dark green vegetable, you can taste the metal kind of thing, can't you? But
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, that part to me is really compelling when he's talking about Valiant Thor and he's talking about the blood type, that his blood's more like an octopus's blood, and
And
it's,
again, maybe these things did come out of the ocean and then found a way to escape to the stars.
this is the thing. It could have been, yeah, because I mean the longest living creatures were from the ocean, or reside in the ocean. And why does a lot of people see USOs more than they see UFOs?
Hmm.
You know, it's a crazy
You
thing.
think of
Anyway,
places like the Mariana Trench where it's miles deep and we don't know what's
yeah,
down there.
yeah, we can't even send anything down there to have a
And
look.
imagine anything that lives down there, the pressure that its body or
Yes,
type
you
is
imagine how
able to
strong they'll
endure.
be. Do you imagine
Yeah,
how
if they
strong
came
they'll
out
be?
on land, yeah, holy cow.
They'd be able to fly. Pretty much, be able to fly because well, mind you, saying that they'd be dense, wouldn't they? Be more dense, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So to withstand the
And
bone
they'd probably
crushing.
be upset and ready to kick butt.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah, seeing what we do with the surface of it.
Yeah, and all the pollutants we've put into the oceans of the
Yeah,
world,
yeah.
and they're going to be upset. And when they do come up out of there,
Well,
it's
it's like it reminds me of the film The Abyss. I
yeah,
love that film.
yeah,
I
that's
love
a
that
good one
film.
too.
Brilliant film. Brilliant. Slow, very slow film, but
Yeah, it's slow build up, but a good payoff.
yeah, it's a fabulous concept. But I do advise people going and watch The Fourth Kind. That'll
Yeah,
um that'll freak you. That'll freak you out.
indeed.
My daughter has to be in bed before 3:30 now, cause
Watch it and you'll understand.
and she like I said, she has an aversion to owls now. It's not just clowns, it's owls as well.
The owls are not what they seem. Twin Peaks. Yeah, like, subscribe if you're not already. Share the word. We're growing here, but each episode gets a little better and better by our
We're a grower,
estimation.
not a
Anyway.
shower.
Yeah. Lee, what do you got coming up this week?
My normal thing, mate. Tomorrow it'll be Radio 1 FA, back to back original tracks. It's a full pint, mate, not half.
And then Saturday nights, your singer,
Me singer live
live
singer
singer
performance.
performance.
Yeah, yeah. The same old, same old. Come and just chill out and hang
Yeah.
out. And
And over on Missing Persons and Mysteries, my old new channel, I've got premieres daily over there while I'm putting my back catalog and stuff back up. New content's on the way, and got some other big stuff in the works, so stick around. But on behalf of Lee and myself, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight and listen to us prattle on. But hopefully you went away with something. But thanks for watching, and
yeah,
I'll see
cheers,
you
guys.
further on down the trail. Have a good night, everybody.
Night, everyone.